Here's a sampling of all the action figure lines that I'm currently buying and collecting. And the reason I am doing this video talking about these different figure lines I collect is sometimes people ask, do you collect anything else? And well, the answer is yes, and here it is. So let's start from the largest figures to the smallest figures, and I'm going to talk about each line a little bit about why I collect it and why I'm interested in it. And yeah, let's go. We'll begin with the G.I. Joe Ultimates line from Super 7. Now, if you watched the video I did about the Bat with comic book colors, the SDCC exclusive from last year, you might be wondering, well, why is this on my list of figures that I'm currently buying? Because I didn't give it very high praise in that video, at least if I remember correctly, I didn't. Bought Wave 1 because I stopped by the Super 7 store in San Francisco last fall, and I wanted to get the Red Jackal and, what was it, the Red Knock or something, Baroness, but they're out of that one. I picked up the Red Jackal, which is a recolor of this Destro. I got him out of the box, and I've kind of played with him a little bit, moving around. I was like, hey, this isn't actually nearly as bad as I originally thought. There were some things about the Bat I didn't like that I was concerned about. Maybe things were going to break. But when I got that Destro figure out, I was like, you know, this isn't too bad. So I went ahead and bought Wave 1 and Wave 2. These are part of Wave 2 on those really awesome sales. And so I've gotten a chance to fiddle with these and look at them. And, you know, I actually do like them. Now, they don't have everything that modern action figure collectors want. These are about, well, 7 inches, Super 7. They don't have things like thigh rotation or a boot cut down here. Let's see. Like Destro here, he doesn't have any kind of a torso cut. It's just right here at the waist, a rotation, and that's all. Lady J actually does have, get him to stand, actually does have a cut right there at the torso. And they're only single jointed at the knees and the elbows. You know, everyone is getting used to double joints, double pins, double pinless, whatever, at the knees and elbows. But you know, these figures work for what I care about. When you sit them down, look at that. They sit really well. And, you know, the arm actually bends. And they look visually cool. I really like the look. They really do remind me of the Sunbow cartoon that they're based off of. And so for that, I'm starting to really like these. Now, I got these, what was it, like $20, $25 or less per figure. So the question will come pretty soon, in fact, because I think Wave 3 is about to drop. Are these worth the $55 I think they are per figure? Will I continue buying them? Well, that might be a harder pill to swallow because I do like these figures, but I'm going to have to decide, are they worth that? So, I don't know, we'll see. But for right now, I really do like these G.I. Joe Ultimates from Super 7. Let's get to the next line. Next, we have from Mattel, the Masters of the Universe Masterverse series. And here are a couple choices. We got Skeletor over here, the new Eternia one, I believe. We have Frost over here from She-Ra, Princess of Power. And these are not something I'm all in on. Now, these are, again, about 7 inches tall, but I think they really work well with other 6-inch. In my world, I think they work pretty good with 6-inch figures because, oh, by the way, she's going to have a very difficult time standing. Her right foot, for some reason, just has trouble. So you're going to see me constantly kind of trying to prop her up there to keep her standing. So I'm not all in on this line. I'm just going to be buying the figures that I like. That's why this is a current line for me. But I chose these ones because these are some of the more recent ones and the ones I like. I mean, check this one out. Look at the boat. See, there she goes. Check out her hair. It's really cool, like a translucent hair, and I think it's really cool. I like anything that has like colors, variations of white and blue, I really like. And so I really like this character, even though I honestly don't know who she is. I did not grow up with Motu, we'll call it, while I was growing up, so I've got no connection whatsoever to these figures. I'm someone who likes buying things that look cool. There we go. And if they look cool, I like them. And these things, they look cool to me. But anyway, let's move on. The next line I have here is an independent line, and I believe you pronounce it Sparrow Toys. These are Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Now, these typically are not my cup of tea. I don't usually go and buy figures from just like an animal-based, human-like line. And these are a little bit outside of what I usually get. But I was pretty impressed by the campaign. This was a Kickstarter, and these are the 2 figures, in fact, that I got from the Kickstarter. This guy is the Kickstarter exclusive, if I remember correctly. what was it, Vero Atlas, I think. I'm still learning the names. I think this one's Atreyu? I think so. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below, but I believe that's their names. And I don't know, there's just something about them jumped out to me. And I decided I'm going to try and get these. And even though they are 7-inch style figures, you could easily put them with 6-inch figures because maybe they come from a world that are large animals, and so they just can blend in with 6-inch action figures really well. And I have to say that I am actually really pretty impressed with these figures. Not only is the articulation really good, but this is the very first time ever that I have received some Kickstarter action figures that I could instantly pose directly out of the package. There was no problems wiggling these guys around, arms rotated, biceps, butterflies, the heads, everything butter smooth. I mean, I pulled these things out. I did not once think that these were going to break. They just felt so good. Just everything about them just felt so good. And that really impressed me. And so because of that, I went out and bought all the, how do I say this? The 7-inch, the standard character-based figures. This is not a line I'm going to army build, so I am all in on these 7-inch-ish main characters. So anyway, I picked up all of Wave 1 and Wave 2, minus the large figures, minus the army builders. I'm not going to buy troop builders for this line. So when they come out with new named character figures, I will probably be getting some. And I think that's going to be in Wave 4. I think Wave 3 is primarily troop builder based. And these guys, they come with some awesome accessories, and they're just actually a lot more fun than I really am glad I backed the project and got in on it because I just think they're a lot of fun. So as of right now, I'm partially all in on this line. Let's get to the next ones. All right, we've now come to the portion of the video that some of you out there will see these figures and either laugh or send me a DM saying, haha, I told you so. The reason is these are Mythic Legion figures, and about a year ago, I had been telling people, no, I will never buy into Mythic Legions. They look kind of cool, but I just couldn't go there. They were kind of expensive, and yeah, I wasn't going to go there. Well, thanks to some recent Black Friday sales and seeing the prices on some figures, I decided, you know what? Being someone who would love to know all about different toy lines and so forth, why not buy one or two just to experiment, just to see what these figures really are like? Because I've heard nothing but good things about them. And I got one in the mail, is this guy, in fact, and he had the piece of paper in there that says, please warm this figure up before bending it around. I was like, oh no, it's not another one of these things. And so I was very careful, but as I articulated the figure and bent him around, it was really actually pretty easy. And he's very nice to articulate. He really actually works really well, and I'm impressed at how well it is. It's a really nice figure. And so I have to admit, I did have a little bit of experience with Four Horsemen, because in the fall of 2022, I ordered the Father Christmas figure. I think it's Father Christmas, or it's essentially the Santa Claus version. And so it's a figure obscura. And so I got that, and I have to admit, I really liked that figure. I liked that figure a whole lot. These are like the large-scale versions of the Boss Fight Studio hacks. Highly articulated, customizable, I don't remember what all it stands for. But I'm really impressed at how customizable these things are. You can swap heads out, you can swap the shoulder armors, you can swap the hands. I believe you can even swap arms on some of them and feet on some of them. There's a lot you can customize with these figures, and there's even some notches here in the back. You can add wings to some of these. You can add all sorts of things to these figures and just change them up to make them not stock, so to speak. You can make them kind of your own, and I really like that. That's really cool. I'm really huge into fantasy, and while I'm not huge into soft goods like this is soft goods here, the soft goods on the figures that I've purchased haven't been so overwhelmingly, they haven't bothered me so much. And so I'm partially all in. I'm going to stick to these level of fantasies for now. Because I said I would never buy a Mythic Legion, I'm also going to hold open. Maybe I might buy a bigger figure in the future, but right now, I don't want them. I might get another horse. Right now, I don't want them. So I'm partially all in. I'm partially all in on these size of, what would you call it, standard 4 Horsemen or Mythic Legion style figures. Anyway, these are the last of this size. Let's go a little bit smaller. Now we're getting to figures that are closer to 6-inch than 7-inch, so these are a little bit smaller. They're not quite 4-inch. And as you can see, these are the Street Fighter 2 figures. Are they Street Fighter 2 or just Street Fighter? But the Street Fighter, I'll say 2 figures from Jada Toys. Now, I had to pick these up. These are great figures. These are really some of the best action figures I have come across. And I'm not going to say I've come across a lot, but these are really good. We have Ryu and Chun-Li here, and they are just so awesome. I like the articulation. It's such easy as I struggle with that elbow right there. But yeah, the articulation is really pretty nice. It's good stuff. And you can put them in some really cool fighting poses. They come with the effects of their moves in game. They're like translucent fire and explosion just to represent the moves that they do in game. And some of these have pretty good reuse potential here, but golly, they're nice looking figures, and they work and they articulate so well. I am actually all in on the main line. These are really nice figures, and if you're a fighting game, Street Fighter, whatever fan, I recommend these. These are so awesome. Next we get to Valaverse's Action Force, and I have actually really enjoyed these figures. I attempted to go in on the Kickstarter, but I had to pull out at the last second. I was very disappointed, but as soon as the backer kit went open, I went and I backed for everything that was offered, and I've been a mostly completist of Action Force up to this point, and the reason why I say mostly is because there's been a few things that have sold out, been very difficult to get, but there's been a few items that I have missed along the way that I wish I could have been able to get, and maybe we'll get some re-releases of some things in the future. But we have Blowback over here, we have Warpath Eclipse, and in the middle here we have Horde Swarm. This figure has been kind of designed to be like a Masters of the Universe style of the Horde. Hordak, is it? But anyway, and this was a convention exclusive for PowerCon, I believe it was. And so this is one of my favorite characters right here, this Blowback. Now, I will say, while I've never had any issues, there were some issues early on, but a lot of those issues have gotten worked out. I've never had a figure break on me, but I've been very careful with them, and I will say this about these figures. They feel different. So like when you grab the leg and you're going to bend at the knee, it feels different. It doesn't feel like most of the action figure lines out there that you're used to. It's a harder plastic. They don't feel fragile at all. They just have a different feel to them. Now the weapons you probably want to be a little careful with. You don't want to stress them too much. Play with these things. They're fun. I mean, they work really well. They've gotten so much better, and I've gotten, like I said, almost all of them, so I could really talk to, the changes over time. I feel the changes in these figures, but I think these unique new characters, they're just really cool, and it's really neat to have a different style of military. There's a very distinct style amongst this Action Force line that I really like. I really like it a lot. But yeah, I'm really into these figures because I think they're pretty neat. Moving on. We come to the next G.I. Joe line that I am all in on. These are G.I. Joe figures from Mezco, and these are the first 2 Mezco action figures that I've ever gotten. I have never had any real desire to pick up an expensive Mezco figure until Destro was offered. He was the very first one. Now, I'm not going to say everything was happy and flowers and blue skies and white clouds and birds were singing, because this figure was offered, 2-3 years ago for pre-order, and it took, 2 to 3 years. I don't remember how long. It took a heck of a long time for these figures. In fact, we're still waiting on some pre-orders from a while ago. So that's been a disappointment. That's not been the best experience ever, waiting forever and a couple days to get these figures. But they're here now, and I'm actually really happy. These are some amazing figures. And I mentioned earlier, I'm not huge in the soft goods. And these figures only pretty much have soft goods. Destro has like this complete bodysuit, this black bodysuit. Roadblock over here has a shirt and pants, which I'm not quite sure if they're actually attached below the pants or if they really are separate. I have not decided. I've chosen not to go looking for that. Now, because these are like soft good bodysuit figures, that does actually restrict how the movement, the articulation. Looking here at Roadblock, goodbye, Destro, you died. Looking here at Roadblock, we'll set Destro off to the side. He's got full range here with this arm, and it works so well. I've heard some negative things about Mezco in the past. I'll have to admit, I'm not experiencing the negative things. I mean, there was that. That's a negative thing right there. This thing just can't seem to stay on, no matter how long and how hard I push it on. But anyway, looking at Roadblock's arms, you can't like bend Destro's arm all the way around because the soft goods, it prevents that. And if you bend that arm too far, you're going to start ripping some stuff, the soft goods. But then again, how many of us in real life bend our arms all the way over, all the way back? It's just not happening. So I'm fine with that. Really am. But the detail on these figures, I think, are really pretty good. They're really expensive figures. I'm not going to lie. They are really expensive, but they are so good. The articulation is great. I haven't had to warm them up. I've been very careful when I first started articulating them, and they work. They bend in all the right ways. These figures are really nice. And remember, all this is my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. This is just, I'm telling you why I buy these things. I think they're pretty cool. I mean, if I buy the stuff, I'm not going to buy crap. However, I will say this, and that is, I did have a problem with Destro shortly after, like within 15, 20 minutes of taking Destro out of the case, part of his belt broke. And I'm not sure to this day, like this piece broke off. I couldn't get it back on. I didn't know if this is supposed to be something removable or if it's supposed to be attached from the factory and it's supposed to come that way or not. I emailed Mezco. I said, hey, I've got this problem. I sent them a photo of what's going on. They were really awesome, and they sent me a new Destro body. No head, no hands. I think the feet. This is the new Destro body. No hands, no feet. They sent me a new body just because this little piece of the belt had broken off. Now, I'll be honest, they didn't tell me if this is supposed to be removable or not. Because they sent me a new one, either they were tired of people complaining about stuff, or this is supposed to be a permanent thing. I don't know, but they still sent me one. So that really, like, customer service to me is really awesome with them. And now, I'm not going to lie, wasn't like overnight. I think it took them a week to email me back, and it took them a month and a half to get me that body. So, I mean, it took a while. It wasn't like just overnight, boom, 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 we're done. It took a while. But still, they were communicating, and they helped me out. So I thought that was really pretty neat. I love these figures, and I'm going to be ordering from here on out. I'm ordering every Mezco G.I. Joe because I really like these figures. I am all in. Now we come to probably my most favorite action figure line currently out, and that's G.I. Joe Classified. I am a G.I. Joe guy from the very beginning to now, and I will always be a G.I. Joe guy because G.I. Joe is awesome. It really is. Anyway, this is just a kind of a sampling of some of the more recent ones. We got Python Copperhead, Shockwave, and Shooter over here. I think some of these are some of the best looking ones out there. I really like Shooter. I mean, this is a really fabulous female figure for the G.I. Joe line. And I know there's some people, come on, I say that and then she won't stand. There we go. Good Shooter. And I know some people have issues, but this is a really amazing Shockwave. He's got to be probably my favorite male G.I. Joe character ever. And I think they did him justice. I think they did a really good job with this figure. I much prefer the smaller figures because easier to store, easier to display. You can't do world building very easily with this. And I just got the Hiss tank recently. I can tell you, golly, that's almost too big. That is almost too big. We'll talk about the Hiss some other time probably. But here is G.I. Joe Classified. I am absolutely all in ×2 on G.I. Joe Classified, my current absolute favorite action figure line. Next. And here we are, 2 4-inch sized action figures. And since I just talked about my #1 favorite current action figure line, I felt it pretty appropriate to talk about the one that comes in second, a very, very close second. Although I have to say, I am really disappointed that this is what we're down to, only 4-inch Fortnite action figures. The 2.5-inch ones are gone, the 2-inch ones are gone, the 7-inch ones are gone, the 6-inch Hasbro ones are gone, and the 6-inch Jazzwares ones are gone. Even the 12-inch Jazzwares figures are gone, for the most part. All we have left is this 4-inch line. This has been the sole survivor of all the Fortnite action figures out there. These figures started in 2018. That's 5 years ago. I know we're in 2014, but they started December 1st of 2018 and have been going mostly non-stop ever since then. The last couple years have been, well, a little depressing, I have to say. Just very discouraging and difficult to keep the hype going, difficult to keep that energy going. And I have a bad feeling that because of the last couple years, I don't know if that same energy level that we had back in 2020, 2021 for this line, I don't know if it'll ever come back. This is an amazing line. I mean, just for example, look at this sampling of figures. We have a female in a bear outfit, bundles. We have a kitten running a mech, cyborg mech outfit, and we have a man cake over here. What action figure line would you ever say could have this kind of variety? Epic has been so strategic in connecting Fortnite to all these other properties. You have DC, Marvel, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, RoboCop, Walking Dead, My Hero Academia, Naruto, Dragon Ball. It's just so many connections of characters that are in the Fortnite game that these figures will perfectly display with any 4-inch figures, and these would blend perfectly well. I've fallen in love with this brand and the property, and I am absolutely all in on pretty much anything with the Fortnite logo. That's really cool and awesome. Now with that said, let's move on and look at some other 4-inch figures that I really like. Alright, I kind of lied. I said keep going on with more 4-inch figures. Well, these, as you can see, are smaller than 4-inch. I just kind of lumped all these small figures in together. In fact, I don't know, these guys are looking a little bit stiff. I think they might need a massage. I don't think they're very articulated, so to speak. Anyway, these are the G.I. Joe reaction figures from Super 7. Now, I know reaction is, the trademark is the 5 POA? Yeah, 5 POA. And so, I mean, yes, I get that. And I'm guessing a certain group of people love these figures. I love these designs. I think they look really good. They really do look good. All the reaction figures they've put out look really good. Can I say that one more time? They look really good. I'm just not a huge fan because of the articulation. If this had proper articulation, we would be all in. I mean, I am all in, but we'd be going. Now, with the recent announcement, Super 7 will be making O-ring action figures. Some too, I believe they're supposed to be releasing next fall. And CoverGirl right here just happens to be in Wave 1. I don't know if it'll be the same CoverGirl just with an O-ring styling. I don't know. By the way, this is Firefly if you didn't know. But I am super excited that this character will be in Wave 1. I actually made a public post on Twitter. I think it was actually the Super 7 making a joke saying that, hey, if you put CoverGirl in Wave 1 of the O-rings, I am absolutely all in for every G.I. Joe item from that point on you make. So as soon as I officially see a O-ring CoverGirl in Wave 1, that's when I sign my life away to Super 7 and start buying everything G.I. Joe they put out. Because I'm a man of my word. Truthfully, they look much better in box or on their card than they do out. Because the amazing artwork, they look like the old 80s G.I. Joe figure packages. And so you either keep them on card, or you put the little weapon in their hand and set them on a shelf. and they stand like this forevermore, like they need a really good, if they stand, apparently there's some issues here, but they stand forevermore like they need a really good body massage. That's not entirely a joke for those of you who think that is a joke. But for those who think it's a joke, you can have that joke. Let's move on. Here we have Boss Fight Studios Hacks, and I believe that stands for Highly Articulated something. But anyway, they're highly articulated. Essentially, I don't know if the C stands for customizing or not, but these are essentially highly articulated 4-inch figures that are customizable. In what I mean by that is you can pop the arms off, you can pop the torsos, the heads, the hands, all sorts of the legs, all sorts of things you can rearrange and plug them back in, and it's a whole lot of fun. I discovered these extremely late. Like, they've been making these things for a long time, and I found these way too late, and I missed a lot of them. But right now I'm all in on these 4-inch Boss Fight Studio figures, mostly these hacks, because they've got these hero hacks, which represents Zorro here, and Tarzan and Phantom, Flash Gordon. I think that's it. There might be some others. I know they're coming out with a Red Sonja, but she's going to be a 6-inch version of the hero hacks. Then you've got some Greek figures, some knight figures, some fantasy figures. They represent all sorts of different type of fantasy time periods and locations and places. And I'm all in. As of right now, everything that pops out, I've been buying, and I've been going backwards and trying to buy what I can. Last Black Friday was an amazing deal. I purchased more hacks, or more of these than I should have. I really did. I was like 20 of them or something, whatever I could find on the website, because I love these figures so much. They are so cool. And for anyone who says you can't get a detailed or a highly detailed figure at 4 inches, they're wrong. These are really pretty good. Well, there we go. We just dropped Zorro's hat there. But these are really good figures. I think these are some of the best figures I have seen. Gonna put his hat back on there. I love these figures. I haven't had one break. I haven't had a bad one yet. So I'm in for these primary... I can't even call them primary characters, because you could buy 10 of her and put different helmets on, and she's a troop builder, so I can't really say they're not even named characters. Zorro's named, but the rest of these are just awesome. They're just awesome. And I really, really enjoy these Boss Fight Studio Hacks figures. There's a whole slew of 10th anniversary figures coming out in the next month or two. I have a couple pirates in my pile of loot on Big Bad Toy Store, and I can't wait for all the new 10th anniversary figures. I hope. And that means we're going to be getting more later in the year or next year or whatever. But I am in for Boss Fight. Let's go. Here we have some Dime Novel Legends figures from Chicken Fried Toys. These figures are pretty fantastic. And yeah, I've really enjoyed them. This guy, the Gold Prospector, was released, I believe, in Wave 1.5. And when I saw... I kind of missed the boat for the very first wave. I was not really doing a lot with action figures outside of G.I. Joe or Fortnite. And so when the Kickstarter for Wave 1 came out, I completely didn't hear about it, and I missed the boat on that one. But then later, I discovered he put out this Gold Prospector. And I was like, oh, dude, I need that figure. I need a Gold Prospector in my life. And I like it. I like this figure a lot. And this was the figure that really converted me. I finally was able to get the Gold Prospector who I'd been wanting for a long time, and he has not disappointed. And I got a whole slew. I got a whole pile. If you've seen one of my recent haul videos last fall, I got a whole lot of Dime Novel Legends figures. I needed to catch up so bad. I'm still missing most of Wave 1. But I'm going to be tracking most of Wave 1 down if I can. But this guy... Look at this guy. He's awesome. I love the little capes. I like the little C-ring that hooks around the neck for the capes. Pretty cool. One thing I really like about these figures is the belts. I know this is probably a weird little silly thing, but I guess it gives me a sense of realism for these little cowboys. And that is how the holsters hook on the belt, and you can move them around. You could put the holsters in the back. I know, maybe that's not how they carry them, but you could move it to the front. You could keep them on the side. I think some of them have knives knife holsters, is that what you... No, sheaths. A knife sheath that can go on there, and these belts pop open. You can swap out different things if you've got multiple figures, or if you've got some of their extra accessory loot. It's very cool. I just really like this belt system. I don't know why. It's one of those things that jumps out at me, is like, that's neat. Now, I will say that these figures are a little bit on the pricey side, but what really does it for me, if you can see here, look at this. The suspenders, the buckles are painted silver, and just, I can't really show you that on here, but a lot of these figures and a lot of the accessories, they just have some really cool, small, very small paint detail. And there's a lot of love that goes into these figures. There is a lot of neat passion that I see in these figures, and that really speaks to me as an action figure collector. Not only are these things really cool, but the love in them is just amazing, and they make my heart happy, and they make my life a little bit better. They put a smile on my face. I don't know. I really enjoy these Dime Novel Legends, and I can't wait to see where this goes. He's going to be putting out a Cops line in the future, 4-inch figures. We were supposed to, I think, get that figure sometime between now and June. We'll be talking about it on the channel. And that's going to be a new line that I will be buying all in, because it's by the same guy doing this, so I believe in that line. Anyway, let's move on. And here we have Eagle Force, another small 4-inch line that I bought into over the last 12 months. And before you say anything about the problem that's here, I will address it real quick. We have Bullet Man, and I know Bullet Man is not an Eagle Force character. He's not like part of the Fresh Monkey Fiction Eagle Force line, but he is made with the same parts as the Eagle Force characters, so I'm kind of lumping him in with the Eagle Force because it's the same parts, kind of the same company that's been helping to produce it. It is a different company that is releasing it, but it's kind of generally, it's very compatible, and so that's why Bullet Man is here, because Bullet Man is just as good as all the Eagle Force figures, and Eagle Force figures are just as good as this Bullet Man. And I hope by pointing out Bullet Man, again, I want to push this figure as much as we can, because I want more Bullet Man. I want them to do another small run or another larger run, because I've actually been hearing multiple people say they'd like more Bullet Man. And with this alternate head, we could have Bullet Troops or something. I want 3 more to go with this guy. Anyway, that's a side point. Eagle Force is apparently something I didn't hear about when I was growing up in the 80s. It was this little line of gold military figures that I guess were about 2 or so inches tall. I don't know what kind of articulation they had. I don't know anything about it. And Fresh Monkey Fiction decided to bring that line back. Now, I don't understand the legalities. I don't know if Bill purchased the Eagle Force name or is using it, or if it was dead or something. The bottom line is he is producing some Eagle Force figures. These are pretty out. I would say these are affordable figures for what you can find out there in boutique lines these days. But the build with these, I would say, are very similar to the Marauder Gunrunner figures, where they there's no torso cut. Trying to get him to stand. There's nothing there. It's just all the chest to torso is one piece, and it hooks into the waist. It's a very nice. They've got, some of them have thigh rotations. You've got the double pin elbows, double pin knees, single joint at the elbow. And I'll be honest, sometimes parts like elbows, wrists and ankles can get a little bit loose. They can get a little bit loose, I've discovered. But just so be careful. Just play fun with them. I mean, but the look and the design, I mean, they've got some really cool stuff. And so I've gone pretty much all in with this. And we'll be talking about some Fresh Monkey stuff in the future, because he's putting out some 6-inch figures in the future that I think I really want to go all in on. There are some really neat stuff in the pipeline. And I'll have to do a video at some point of figure lines that I'm looking forward to. In fact, that's a great idea. So anyway, let's jump into the last line. And now we've come to the final action figure line that I am currently collecting. It's kind of a bookend of a video, because I started off with G.I. Joe and I'm ending it with G.I. Joe. These are the 4-inch-ish, they're just slightly larger than 4-inch, Hiya G.I. Joe, exquisite minis. That's, I think, was what they call it. Action figures. These guys are a lot of fun. These are the only two released so far, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. These are based off of classified designs. So this Snake Eyes was the very first Snake Eyes from Wave 1 of classified. This Storm Shadow, well, he never saw release in the classified line. I am excited that we got this from Hiya. In fact, I think we're getting several designs in future Hiya G.I. Joe action figures that were meant to come out that didn't come out, such as Baroness with purplish hair, and there is, was it Tiger Force Flint? He looks a little bit different than what we got. There's a few figures. There's a Cobra Trooper that looks a little bit different, and I think Hiya is giving us the classified figures that were originally meant to be released, design-wise. And I am completely fine with that. Now, I will say I've had these guys for a while, and there are some things. Snake Eyes' right arm falls off extremely, or hand, not arm, but the hand falls off extremely easily. And so there is a little bit of an issue with these hands on the ball joints, that they can drop off sometimes. And I'm sure this is not a widespread problem, but the Storm Shadow that I have, which I'm very disappointed about, the right arm has broken essentially off. I can tuck it in there, but like you can see, it's just I have it tucked up in there right now, but it's broken. It's got the rivet has like crumpled in on itself, and just I can slide it right out. It's really kind of strange. I'm tempted to send the company a message asking about it, because you can't buy these guys anymore, except for maybe eBay for probably, I don't know, I haven't looked, but probably a high number. This is it, the Hiya G.I. Joe, the final line of the video. The reason why I am showcasing all these is because Fortnite has been kind of difficult over the last few years, and if I am only primarily doing content around these 4-inch Jazzwares Fortnite figures, I'm going to have a lot of open space and not a lot of videos. So I'm hoping to branch out into all of these, into topics surrounding all of these action figures that I'm currently buying. That's why I'm showcasing, not to brag, but to kind of show you this could be where topics and videos come from, are based out of in the future. So let me know in the comments, which of these figure lines do you like? Do you buy any of these? Do you buy all of them? Do you buy certain ones? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments. And if you wanted to see videos in the future, what are you interested in? Topics surrounding which of these sets of action figures? That could be news of new information when new figures are coming out. That could be reviews. That could be like an overall discussion about the line. That could be topics about the line, maybe my future guesses or what should come out line, what should they change, all sorts of different things. Just let me know what types of things you would be interested in. These are the lines that I know the most about probably at the moment, so yeah, this is where I'm at the moment. Thank you for stopping by and watching. I hope you've had a wonderful new year. I will see you in the next video.